Hi everyone, my name is Michelle Hogan and I'm an outreach and policy specialist here in Reach Out. I work in the policy and prevention program and we're funded through the San Bernardino County Department of Behavioral Health, where our main goal is to reduce substance abuse issues among the youth. I'm thankful that you're all tuning in here today for this virtual presentation and you're making some time out of your day to find out what this presentation is all about. I would like to start with highlighting that National Alcohol Awareness Month was in the month of April. And it's a good way to increase knowledge on the dangers of alcohol use and underage drinking. To do that, the policy prevention team partnered up with the Talk.They campaign, in which they promoted the dangers of drinking and the dangers of underage drinking, but also promoted guidance and skills to caregivers and parents in order for them to navigate through the conversation of alcohol with their teens. Many parents think and believe that navigating through such topics with their child is very difficult and they're very hesitant to do so, but it's very, very important to keep in mind that open conversations lead to open relationships. And alcohol is still the #1 choice of drug among the youth. Youth are still abusing and drinking at a very young age. So what better way to prevent underage drinking than starting the conversation with your youth today? For those that do not know, Reach Out is a nonprofit organization based in Upland, and it also has 2 other offices in Yucca Valley and Cuerva Valley. We have been servicing our communities for over 50 years now in the Inland Empire, and we have a various of programs that service families, youth, and communities. The policy prevention program services the western region of San Bernardino County, in which we use different strategies to combat substance abuse issues. We use policy development, research, media advocacy, community organization, and enforcement. Reach Out and the policy prevention team has partnered with Substance Abuse and Mental Health Administration and has received full access to the material you're about to see. SAMHSA is a public health agency within the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services that focuses in reducing the impact of substance abuse and mental health illnesses across the nation. That's a mouthful. And we have access on the material through their website. The media campaign goals of the Talk.They is to increase awareness and understanding among the parents of prevalence and risk of underage drinking, to increase knowledge, skills, and self-efficacy among parents regarding the role of preventing underage drinking, and lastly, to increase actions by parents to prevent underage drinking. According to the National Survey on Drug Use and Health, almost 2.3 million Americans between the ages of 12 and 13 report that that were drinking alcohol every month. In addition, in 2018, 7.1 million youth between the ages of 12 and 20 reported they drink beyond just a few sips. It's important to know that alcohol among the youth is an emerging and public health concern, specifically with drinking. That means drinking 4 or 5 more drinks within a 2-hour period. In addition, due to the COVID-19 crisis, it has been observed that alcohol sales have increased. And not only that, people are ordering food to their households along with alcohol. This means there's more alcohol in households more than ever. And this could also mean that children are exposed to knowing that alcohol is so easily accessible, and now they have it at their households. That's just an open door for maybe them experimenting with alcohol. So it's very important for us to be aware of that. Understanding the problem, alcohol is a factor in death of thousands of youth per year. Not only is underage drinking itself dangerous, but it could lead to other dangerous events, such as motor vehicle crashes, suicide, violence, and intentional injuries, alcohol, and drug poisonings. As you can see by the pie chart here on the corner, it really illustrates that. So 32%, which is in the red, is for traffic deaths. 30% is in the blue-green, is for homicides. Further consequences of children who drink are more likely to use drugs, get bad grades, suffer injury or death. Also, they're more likely to increase engaging in sexual activity, which could be risky because they're more likely not to use protection during sex, making bad decisions and also having life-threatening problems, such as heart and liver problems. Also, to highlight other effects, the brain development. The brain does not stop developing until the age of 24. So if a teen is already drinking, they really distract the brain from developing at its full potential. The long-term consequences due to that could be memory loss, decision-making, judgment, communication skills, and loss of the skills to problem solve. So you might ask and ponder or wonder why kids are already starting to drink or why your child might drink. There's a lot of factors that play into that. Stress could be one of them. Children could be stressed because if they have bad grades or other things are going on in their lives, and they might turn into drinking as a way to cope. So what can you do about that? You can encourage your child to assess and see what they're interested in. If they're interested in sport, you can encourage them to be part of that. And that way they have a healthier coping mechanism. Peer pressure. Peer pressure can happen anywhere and any time, in a school, a party. So what better way to prepare your child when that time comes than helping them boost their confidence and learning to say no when they are pressured into drinking. So definitely make sure they have the confidence and skill set to do that. Transition. There's many life events that can occur in a child's life that could, lead them into drinking. So what can you do? Let them know that change is part of life. Encourage them to understand that better things may come out of this change. Other things might be the environment. Children may grow up in a household where drinking is the norm. So what can you do if that's the case? You could definitely choose to be a good example by drinking in moderation, not drinking and driving, and setting rules and expectations, and also mentioning that underage drinking is very dangerous. Genetics. Children may come from a history of alcoholism, so it's very important for them to understand what alcoholism is and for you to explain that to them and the seriousness of the disease itself. Research suggests that parents are a huge influence on their youth. It has been observed that students do report that their parents have a huge influence on whether they decide to drink or not. In particular, on this slide, it shows a study from 6th, 7th, and 8th graders, and research observed that those kids that were allowed to drink at home were more likely to increase their alcohol consumption versus those that were not allowed to drink at home. So parents might wonder, how can I start this conversation? I have no idea. I don't even know what to say. Well, this campaign really does prepare you for success. There's some conversational goal starters that you could focus on and try to meet those goals as you start your conversations. You could start with showing that you disapprove of underage drinking. And you could also let them know that you care about their health, their well-being, and their overall success. You could be a good source of information that can really just have education tools where you could self-educate on the dangers of alcohol and underage drinking. You could pay attention to behaviors and make sure that they know that you don't tolerate or you don't encourage risky behaviors. You could also build their skills and confidence on how to avoid drinking. Why should you start the conversations with your kids? Parents have a significant influence on their children. It's better to talk to them now and have an open conversation and make sure they understand why you're having this conversation with them. It's better to talk to them before they're exposed to drugs rather than after they're exposed to drugs. As they get older, they're more likely to be tempted to increase their likeliness to experiment with alcohol. So it's important for you to be aware of that, because research does show that high schoolers, I believe over half, already have experimented with alcohol. Not only talking about alcohol, but also keeping in mind that it's important for you to not avoid talking about alcohol. If you avoid talking about alcohol, they might think that it's okay to drink because you're not addressing it. Some children might already know about drugs or alcohol when they're very young. For example, me, I already knew about alcohol when I was in elementary school because I saw it so often in my household. So why do these conversations matter, and how should you be using the opportunities to talk to them? Try using it every day to talk to them. It could be small talk, very informal, just bring up the conversation, the topic about alcohol, and just see where it goes. And try to do it on a day-to-day basis, because the more they hear about it, the more it sticks to them. And when you talk about alcohol, make sure your words are clear. Remember, it also goes both ways. So when you are talking about alcohol with your kids, make sure they're also able to voice their opinions, ask questions, make sure it's in a lecture, because they're more likely to zoom out. Make sure they're involved in that engaging conversation. And then lastly, what you do is just as important as what you say. So if you do choose to drink, make sure it's in a positive manner, positive influence that you could lead by making sure you drink in moderation, never drinking and driving, and letting them know that underage drinking is always off limits in your household. Other things you can mention are healthy coping mechanisms that they could inherit. So, for example, you could address some ideas that they could ponder on if they like journaling or making art. But keep in mind that sometimes they don't always like, maybe they're not always going to like what you're going to give the ideas to them. Sorry. So it's important for you to be open that they might be interested in something else. And that's totally okay. It just really depends on what they're interested in and they really are going to make time for. Lastly, Talk.They does have another app within their campaign. So it does really prepare, again, caregivers and parents to use tools to conversate with their children. And this is more of a video app. It's very interactive. You can easily download it on your desktop or your phone for free. And it really helps you navigate through the conversation by practicing the topic of alcohol, learning to ask questions, reaching your conversation goals, decide what to say, and see the outcomes of it. And you could always ask for help if you don't know how to answer on the app. And you could always decide what scenario you want to practice on. Other resources you can find on the Talk.They campaign are brochures with talking to your child about marijuana and other drugs, and also answering other tough questions they may have. That concludes my Talk.They component of the presentation, but I would like to mention if you are concerned with substance abuse in your area and you would like to make a change, if you do live in the cities of Montana, Upland, Montclair, Rancho, Ontario, Chino Hills, Yucca Valley, Joshua Tree, 29 Ponce and Lander, it's a great opportunity for you to take our survey. Our survey is anonymous and it will ask you for your input on what you think about substance abuse in your community. So it's a chance for you to address your concerns. This is then taken to county, and county is a helpful way for them to know where the funding should go in terms of prevention programs. Here are the links, and I will be more than happy to share the links with you. The only thing that I like to point out is the adult attitude and perception survey is only for adults, but youth can take the other community survey. Thank you again for your participation. Again, I will leave you here with my email. You can contact me at any time with questions or concerns. And also, I would like to encourage you to follow our social media pages where we post content from our various programs. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Lastly, we are asking for your support. We're currently trying to support children and families who are struggling during this crisis. And if you would like to donate, we have a website where you could do that directly. It's www.we-reachout.org/donate. Thank you for your time, and I hope you stay safe and well.